I guess what I drew me to the role first was the money. No.
Totally overpaid. Had a meeting with an executive. It's one of those meetings where it's like, well, we love you. And I love you. And the problem is all that love goes nowhere and you go home and then you move on to the next. But in this case, the executive had a kind of Columbo moment where as we were walking to the door, he said, wait a minute. There's a book you should read that they'll never make at my company. But I think that you and Jeremiah, who's my partner in a company, would love it. And we read the book. We love the book. We optioned the book. The author of the book is standing over there. He's awesome. And, we took it to Sci-Fi, and they basically in the room went, there's nothing like this on TV. We'd love to do this. And that was the start of, the journey that brings us all here to Comic-Con.
It's really awesome. I think this was something I was destined for. No. No, it was really cool. I feel like it was such a learning experience for me to really have the responsibility to always be prepared and be on time and making sure that everyone's good and settled and it took a lot. I feel like it was probably the most stress that I'd ever experienced in my entire life. It's something I wouldn't trade for the world. It's been amazing, and now we get to do this and promote with our team and our family. It's been fire for sure. Not particular. I shouldn't say that. I love that stuff. Yeah, no, I absolutely do. You smell amazing. I think that it was just a really cool opportunity, and again, just the story behind the supernatural aspects of the show are what really drew me in. So Reginald is sort of going through a human journey. He sort of figures out life after death in a sense. So it's just him sort of understanding what it's like to love and to sort of fight off a big bad villain who is destroying her community. And so there's that. And yeah, just like rediscovering self and making new relationships and bonds that truly are really, really amazing and fun to watch.
I think playing Maurice was just a blast in general, but one of the things that attracted me to the character is, one, the fact that he's a vampire. And although maybe I'm in my 20s, I'm now playing someone who's been around for centuries. So bringing all those dynamic elements of what would a guy in his 90s say in this scenario, and also how does a guy this age feel now when probably most of the people he grew up with or knew his life have already passed? How does he feel? Does he want new companions? And obviously when you got someone as charismatic as Jacob, it's hard to not make a friend. So, and that, I mean that in real life and in the show, we all had a great time. So I think our characters did as well, but no, I think I can speak for everyone. We had a good friendship going.
Totally. Yeah. I guess what I drew me to the role first was the money.
Totally overpaid.
No. I guess when I think about Sarah, she's someone trying to find her place in the world, and I relate to that. There was a lot of room to play, I felt like, on set with all of us as friends, but also as creatives and as a team. It felt super collaborative and super positive, and a few of us cried when it was over.
For me personally, the thing that drew me to Angela was, aside from the fact that, yes, she's a vampire, and I absolutely love vampires. Grew up, that's my thing. I love them. Buffy, that's my girl, Buffy. Aaliyah, Queen of the Damned, all that. I loved it. But for me, I think I am always really drawn to powerful female characters, really confident women. I love playing that. I was really drawn to the idea that, like Mandela was saying, that, like these characters, like Angela and Maurice, they're so old. And I think for Angela, the point where she is, where we meet her in the story, is it's kind of her figuring out her power and how to keep her power. And I think that's something for a very long time that she was very desperately trying to get, was trying to gain some control over her life. And now that she has this great power, I think for her at this moment, it's just kind of navigating that and how to keep that and how to kind of keep the things flowing in her life as it is, because she can't die. So for her, I think the thing that she thinks about is like, okay, that's happened, now on to the next thing, because that's really all she can really do.
I mean, I watched Vampire Diaries, then I watched it a second time with my daughter. I just think there's something, I was going to say eternal, which is stupid, but the fact of the matter is that there is that idea about living forever, and that notion about how is a life lived, because we all think about it. And so what if your life really had no limits other than a wooden stake and some sunshine? And I think that in going into those stories, I think that's what people find in them. I think that that's what's really fun about it, is trying to look, like even with the relationship between Maurice and Angela, there's the idea is, how long does it take to forgive somebody? Right? Does revenge have a shelf life? And we play that out in our first season. And that, to me, is why vampire shows are so much fun, because you get to dig into your characters that way, and you can go in any direction.